These are the 8-1 homework solutions. So if we look at number 1, it says, what is the slope of a line perpendicular to the graph of the equation 5x minus 3y equals 2? Okay, so I have 5x minus 3y equals 2. So the first thing you have to do is set this equal to y in order to see what the slope is, right? We need it in standard y equals mx plus b form. So we would subtract 5x on both sides. I have negative 3y equals negative 5x plus 2. Okay, then I would divide every single term by a negative 3. So I get y is equal to 5/3 x minus 2/3. So if you guys look at it, again, for this entire homework, you really have to pay attention to parallel or perpendicular. So perpendicular means negative reciprocal. So the negative reciprocal to 5/3 is going to be negative 3/5. So that's going to be choice A. Okay, so then going on to number 2, going down the column, it says, what is the slope of a line parallel to the line y equals 5x plus 4? So if the slope is 5 and it's parallel, it's going to be the same thing. Okay, it's going to be a 5. So if we look at number 3, it says, what is the slope of a line perpendicular to the line whose equation is y equals 4x plus 1? Well, if the slope is 4, a way to write that as a fraction is 4 over 1. So a negative reciprocal to that is negative 1 over 4. Okay, and that would give you choice A. So then for number 4, it says the slope of the line perpendicular to the line whose equation is y equals 3x minus 4 is what? Well, again, perpendicular, I'm looking at 3, and we put 3 over 1. I want the negative reciprocal to that, which would be negative 1/3 or choice D. Okay, so then going back up to number 5. So number 5 says, what is the slope of a line perpendicular? Sorry, let's just square this up. Perpendicular to the line whose equation is y equals 2x plus 7. So I want the negative reciprocal to 2. So I put 2 over 1, negate it, and flip it, and I get choice C. So then for number 6, it says, what is the slope of a line that is perpendicular to the line whose equation is y equals 3x plus 5? So the negative reciprocal to 3 is going to be negative 1/3. So that's going to give you choice A. Okay, number 7, if line L is perpendicular to line M and the slope of line L is undefined. So we've never seen this one before. So you got to think logically. If the slope of the line is undefined, what that line could look like is it looks like this. It's vertical. So perpendicular to that is going to be a horizontal line. So the slope of a horizontal line is going to just be 0. And this slope is undefined. So in other words, the answer is going to be choice C. Okay, so the negative reciprocal to 0 is undefined. So then for number 8, it says lines L and M are perpendicular. The slope of L is, I think it says 3/5. So if it's perpendicular to 3/5, the negative reciprocal to 3/5 is negative 5/3 or choice B. Okay, so then turn the page. Okay, so for number 9, it says the equation of a line is 3y plus 2x equals 12. What is the slope of a line perpendicular to the given line? Okay, so some of these on this page are going to require you guys to actually solve for y, like to get the equation in standard form. So if I do that for this one, right now I have 3y plus 2x equals 12. Okay, so I want to isolate y, so I would subtract 2x on both sides. I get 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 12. And then to get y alone, I would divide every single term by 3. So I would get y is equal to negative 2/3 x plus 4. So if I want the slope of a line perpendicular to that, and its slope right now is negative 2/3, the negative reciprocal would be 3/2, or choice B. Okay, so then for number 10, it says, what is the slope of a line perpendicular to the line whose equation is y equals y minus 2x equals 5. Okay, so that's kind of easy to put in standard form. You're just going to add 2x on both sides, and you get y is equal to 2x plus 5. So again, they're asking perpendicular. So perpendicular slopes to 2 is going to give you a -1/2, or choice C. Okay, number 11. If the two lines are parallel and the slope of one line is m, what is the product of their slopes? Now, this is an SAT question. So if two lines are parallel, that means that both their slopes are the same. They're both m and m. This is just saying what would be the product, or if you were to multiply those two slopes together, you would end up getting m squared, or choice C. So I just kind of threw that on there. I just wanted to give you guys an example of like an SAT type question. Okay, that's where that comes from. Okay, so then for number 12, it says the graphs of the equations y equals 2x minus 7 and y equals negative kx equals 7 are parallel when k equals what? Okay, well, if they're parallel, the slope needs to be 2, okay, for this one. So if you guys are looking at that, if I have y minus kx equals 7, I need to put that in standard form. So I would add kx on both sides. Y equals kx plus 7. My k has got to be 2, so it's going to be choice 2. It's got to be the same thing as the one up there for it to be parallel. So then for number 13, it says, what is the slope of a line perpendicular to a line whose equation is negative 2/3 x minus 5? So the negative reciprocal to negative 2/3 is going to be 3/2. Or choice D. Okay, so then moving on to number 14. So for number 14, it says, what is the slope of a line perpendicular to a line whose equation is this? Okay, so I'm going to divide 2 to get y alone. I'll carry it down here. I get y is equal to negative 3x plus 4. So if I want it to be perpendicular, I need the negative reciprocal to negative 3, which would be positive 1/3, or choice C. Okay, so then for number 15, it says, what is the slope of a line perpendicular to the line whose equation is this? Okay, well, again, if I have a slope of 3, perpendicular to that would be -1/3. So that would be choice B. Okay, number 16. What is the slope of a line perpendicular to the line represented by this? Okay, now this one I'm going to work down here because we have more than one step going on. So I have 2x plus 4y is equal to 12. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 2x on both sides. I get 4y is equal to negative 2x plus 12. And then I would divide every single term by 4. So I would get y is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 3. So the slope is -1/2. So if it's perpendicular to that, the negative reciprocal is just going to be choice B, or 2. Okay, so think -1/2, flip it. Okay, that's just 2. Okay, number 17. What is the slope of a line parallel to the line whose equation is this? Well, that's pretty easy. This is saying 2/5. The answer is going to be the same thing. If you notice, that's why there's more perpendicular than parallel on this packet. It's just because parallel's too easy. Okay, so then lines L and M are perpendicular. If the slope of M is -4/3, what is the slope of line L? Well, if they're perpendicular, slope L has to be 3/4. Okay, so last page. Number 19. Says line J is perpendicular to line K if the slope of line J is 5/2. What would be the slope of line K? Well, that's just going to be the negative reciprocal, or negative 2/5. Number 20. If the slope of JK is 3/4, and they're perpendicular. That's what this symbol means, right? They're perpendicular. The negative reciprocal to that would be negative 4 over 3. Okay. Number 21, if they're perpendicular again, and the slope of this line is 2/7, so the negative reciprocal to 2/7 would be 7 over 2. Hopefully this is starting to feel a little repetitive to you guys. So then for number 22, find the slope of a line perpendicular to the line whose equation is this. Okay, so I got to set that equal to y first, put it in standard form. So I would start by adding 6x on both sides. I have 6x plus 4 over on the right-hand side. Then I would divide every term by 2. And I would get y is 3x plus 2. So if I want it perpendicular to that, the negative reciprocal to 3 is negative 1/3. And that would be my slope. Number 23. What properties best describe the coordinate graph of two distinct parallel lines? So they're going to have the same slope for sure. So that cancels out choice C and D. But technically, if they're two separate different lines, they're going to have different y-intercepts, kind of like on the opening exercise that we did on this packet. Okay, so then the last three is kind of an important question. They're asking you, are they parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Again, this is kind of how they most of the time worded on the actual Regents exam. So this one's already set equal to y. So you have to set this one equal to y. So if you do, you're going to divide every term by 6. Now, when you do that, you see how you get 2/6 right there? You want to simplify that into lowest form. So 2/6 is really 1/3. Okay, so if you guys look, both of the slopes are 1/3. That would mean that they are parallel to each other. Okay, or you would get choice 24 or choice D. Okay, so then for number 25, now this one's going to require a lot more work, okay, because like both of them are more than one step to set equal to y. So to start, I'm going to set this one equal to y first. So I have 3y plus 6 equals 2x. So I'm going to start by subtracting 6 on both sides. I get 3y is 2x minus 6. And then I'm going to divide every single term by 3. So I get y is 2/3 x minus 2. So then I'm going to do the same thing for the second equation. I'm going to add 3x first. And then divide everything by a 2. Now, if you guys look at these slopes, I get 2/3 and 3/2. So that is neither, okay, which is intersecting but not perpendicularly. For them to have been perpendicular, one would have had to be negative. Okay, so be careful for that. Obviously, they're not parallel, so that's easy to do. They're not, if they were the same line, they would be the exact same equation, which they're not. And perpendicular, they would have to be negative reciprocal slopes. So that's why you end up getting choice D. Okay, so then for number 26, the last one, it says, state whether the lines represented by these equations are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay, so first off, the first equation is already in standard form, and I see that its slope is 1/2. So the only thing I have to do is solve for this one for y. So right now I have y plus 4 is equal to, I'm going to distribute this side. You get negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 times a negative 2 is a positive 1. Okay, and then the last step here is just to subtract 4 on both sides. So y is negative 1/2 x minus 3. So if you look at the slopes, we have 1/2 and negative 1/2. So that would be neither. And how we would break this up is we would say neither. They don't have equal slopes. So they are not parallel. And their slopes are not negative reciprocals. So they are not perpendicular. Okay, and that's it for the homework, guys. Thanks.